All right, welcome back. Today, we're going somewhere different. A place that's not quite on the normal map. A place wrapped in ancient power and mystery. We are about to dive deep into one of the biggest, most complex challenges in all of My Singing Monsters. The one and only Amber Island. Right from the jump, the game's official description gives you this massive sense of scale. Amber Island isn't just another spot for monsters to sing. It's called a seed vault. Think about that. It's like a living library, an archive holding the very essence of the original fire monsters from a long-lost era. It's a piece of the past literally frozen in time. And that's the real question, isn't it? I mean, if this place is a vault, how do you open it? How do you take all that unrealized potential and turn it back into a living, breathing, singing monster? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. Let's crack this thing open. Okay, so to really get this, you have to understand the lore. Amber Island isn't exactly a physical place in the way that, say, Plant Island is. It exists on a higher plane, kind of like Gold Island, and it's the spiritual home of the fire colossal, Dulcitea. So think of it less as an island and more as a genetic backup plan, ensuring the fire monsters can never truly be forgotten.
This is what makes it so unique. Amber Island is officially a zapping island, which means the normal rules just get thrown right out the window. There's no breeding structure here. Instead, you're basically a monster archaeologist. You're reviving ancient spirits by zapping life back into these dormant statues called vessels. It's pretty wild.
So, we've got the why, now let's get into the how. How does this whole zapping thing actually work? What are the steps you gotta take to bring these incredible fire monsters back from the brink? It really boils down to three main steps. First, you head to the market and buy a dormant vessel for the specific monster you want. Second, and this is the tricky part, you have to prove you have the right ingredients by breeding the required eggs on your other islands and zapping them into that vessel. And third, once it's full, you hit that revitalize button and boom, an ancient monster is reborn. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch that adds a ton of pressure. Except for Kaina, the very first monster, these vessels are on a timer. They only show up in the market for a little while, and you have to fill them up before that window closes. If you don't, the vessel just expires. All that progress you made, gone. It is a serious race against the clock. Now, to make any of this happen, you're going to need the island's special currency, relics. And when I say you're going to need them, I mean you need them for everything. Buying the vessels, clearing those pesky rocks and trees, upgrading your castle for more space, and even for evolving your monsters later on. Relics are literally the lifeblood of Amber Island. So getting the common version of a fire monster is awesome, but believe me, that's just the start. The real long-term goal on Amber Island, the thing that keeps players busy for months, is taking that monster you just revived and unlocking its even cooler rare and epic forms. And how you do that is a whole different ballgame. You've basically got two totally different paths to power here. To get the commons, you're doing that whole zapping thing we talked about, filling up a vessel with eggs. But to get the rares and epics, that's when you use a special structure right on Amber Island called the Crucible. And that's where things get intense. And here's the catch, and it is a huge one. Evolution is a permanent sacrifice. When you decide to evolve a common monster into a rare one, that common monster is gone. Poof, consumed in the process. It's a high-stakes decision that really makes you think about which monsters you're willing to give up for a shot at something even greater. Okay, so we've covered the deep lore and the super complex mechanics. But why? Why go through all this trouble? In My Singing Monsters, the answer is always the same. It's for this song. The ultimate prize is hearing this lost world finally sing again. I mean, really think about it. After all this talk of revival, seed vaults, and ancient spirits, what kind of music could possibly capture that feeling? What does a song from a forgotten era, brought back to life piece by piece, actually sound like? The official description just hits the nail on the head. It's not just some happy, upbeat tune. It's a song of elation, right? The pure joy of being brought back to life. But it's also tempered with a wistfulness. There's this hint of nostalgia, maybe even a little sadness for a world that doesn't exist anymore. It's so emotionally complex. And you can totally hear that mix of feelings as the song comes together. You start with Kaina, giving it that raw, primal energy. Then Flugel comes in with this bold, triumphant brass fanfare.
But listen closely, and underneath it all is Sousa's deep tuba, carrying that sad, wistful bass line. And then, boom, Yelma just lets loose with that powerful, raw yell of pure elation. It's just incredible storytelling through music.
So let's zoom out a bit. Why is Amber Island so important to the entire world of My Singing Monsters? What makes it more than just another island to collect stuff on? When you think about it, Amber Island really wears a lot of hats. It's the bridge that connects the main game to its prequel, Dawn of Fire, making the whole universe feel connected. It's also designed to be a true endgame challenge for the most dedicated players out there. And honestly, it's just a masterclass in world building, weaving together deep lore and unique gameplay to make a song you can't hear anywhere else. And just to give you an idea of the sheer scale of this long-term project, a fully maxed out Amber Castle holds a whopping 360 beds. 360! Let that sink in. Finishing this island isn't a weekend project. It is a massive commitment that can take players months, sometimes even years to complete. And get this, the island itself is not a finished product. It's been constantly evolving ever since it was released back in 2022. They've added new stuff like the Crucible and seasonal events. And look at this, the devs have a release schedule for new monsters planned years in advance. Amber Island is a living, breathing part of the game's history that's still being written. And that just leaves us with one final thought. The lore says Amber Island is tied to the very core of the world tree itself. So every single monster we bring back is another ancient secret being pulled from the past into the present. It really makes you wonder, as this island keeps growing, what other echoes from the Dawn of Fire are still out there, just waiting to be heard?